Hey folks, this is Nate from Fat Guy Squared. You can watch us on Twitch, fatguysquared.podbean.com, and also our podcast at the Google Play Store and iTunes. You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and of course YouTube. If you want to send us an email, you can hit us at fatguysquared@gmail.com. And without further ado, folks, here's the show.
Fat Guy Squared.
Hello, folks. How are you? It's Nate and Pat from Fat Guy Squared.
Giggity, giggity, giggity.
What is going on, man?
Not a whole lot. I'm sick as shit, bro.
Well, you know what? We got a live audience today, ladies and gentlemen. The very first for us. Let me kick this off to the audience. Audience, say hello. Hello. Sounds like Jerry Springer for geriatrics.
It's great. I'm going to be able to get everybody sick today all in one shot. This is awesome.
Awesome. You know, and on the plus side, I haven't been sick in a solid week, so that'll work.
Yeah, until we start making out again.
Well, I mean, you didn't follow the rules. I told you to wear that mask.
So what's the game plan today, Pat? Talk to me.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this week is a little different than the norm. We decided to do it this week because it is only an hour podcast, but we both thought, well, hey, you know what? Let's give a little history, where we come from. Really, it comes back to a couple weeks back. A gentleman said it was white privilege. There was a comment made, and I kind of lost my shit on it. And I go, white privilege? I'm a fucking scumbag from way back in the day, but I don't have white privilege. And it got me thinking about, you know, my history, frankly. Goddamn neighbors are running around again.
So you weren't, white privilege, not you think?
Yeah, no, not even a little bit. My background is very much a military-style background, if that makes any sense.
Okay.
And so I figured we devote half hour to me, half hour to you.
Okay.
It'll get a little confusing if we go back and forth, so I think if we just directly go, well, what's your history, Nate? What's my history? And then, half hour me, half hour you kind of thing, I think.
Okay.
If this isn't your cup of tea, ladies and gentlemen, this isn't really going to be a comedic side of thing. But
you don't know my life.
Yeah, no, we might be in the comedic side of thing, but in some points it might not be. Frankly, there are times in our lives where a bunch of shit went south, and I'm sure we will be bringing that up as well.
That fucking cat is back.
Oh, yeah, well, when your pussy wants to be around you, what are you going to do?
For the folks listening, last week I had a run-in with this cat. This cat was like basically sniffing my butt last week, and I wasn't a fan of it. Not a fan at all. You stay away, little pussy.
Well,
you
what
stay
it
away.
is, he had Taco Bell the night before, so it smelled its brother. I will avenge your death.
Oh, that's good. That's
I
good.
am. Wait. What is that from? What is that show from? Oh shit, the movie Princess Bride. I am Montego Montoya.
You have killed my father, and I am here to
Prepare to
avenge you. You are prepared to die. And then my favorite line out of that movie: "Anybody want a peanut?"
This is conceivable. Inconceivable.
That's great. Oh my god, that's right. I forgot about him.
All right, so Nate.
Yeah.
I guess we can go with you. Let's start with you.
Okay.
Now, just for you folks out there, our audience is actually my mother. My mother is, and my stepfather at this point. I don't know. She might give up on him one day. Say, you know what? I'm going with somebody half your age, and then marry a 65-year-old. But they are down here, and they will tell us if we're full of shit or not, because my mother was a part of my life and my cousin's life for, both of our lives.
Yeah, actually, yeah, very much so.
So, that being said, our historian doesn't really have a great memory, so if we're both wrong, then we'll stick with what we know. And we'll go from there. Does that work for you? All right, she flicked me off. Good job. She didn't physically do it, but mentally she did.
Yeah, I saw it. It was in her eyes.
I will say so many things to you, you son of a bitch. Oh, wait, that's me. Oh, fuck me. Oh, fuck you. Anyway, bipolar runs in the family. So, all right, Nate, let's start with you.
Yep.
I will ramble through a bunch of questions and
Oh,
we'll
yay.
work through it.
Yay!
All right, you were born when?
I was born 3 o'clock in the morning, February 15th, 1987.
And that is the first time that you pissed your mother off. 3 in the fucking morning? What an asshole.
Actually, funny story behind this. I actually, so my father, a lot of people don't know, but my father was actually a semi-pro bowler. And he was in a league that night. I'm sorry, he was in a tournament that night. And when my father was bowling, every time he went up, he bowled a strike. And he looked back at my mother. My mother would give him a smile, and he'd go back up and throw another strike. Well, he was bowling a perfect game.
Do you think that when he bowled the strike, he went, Nate? And that's how he got the
no,
name?
I'm pretty sure he didn't.
No.
But the final ball on the 10th frame, he looked at my mother, and my mother went into labor.
Ah,
And my
Jesus
father
Christ.
threw a gutter ball and rushed my mother to the hospital. And that's the reason right there that my father started from scratch hating my guts.
Yet another reason why I just can't stand women or little kids.
Yes. So, no, I was, I was born, I believe,
Well, I hope you were born.
I was born in Providence, I believe, at Women and Infants.
Was it women? Women and infants. Our historian shaking her head.
Yes, she agrees to that.
Yeah, well, that's cool. Okay, so do you remember how long you were in the hospital for?
I don't remember that far back. I don't even remember. I think I was in like 3 days, 4 days. Yeah. 2 days? How was it, 2 days
Was
or
it
3
two
days?
or three?
3 days. 3 days.
We got to get another mic here because this would be so much better with
Yeah.
her on the mic.
Yeah. So
Um,
went home, and then I remember I remember hearing the stories that my sister, who at this point was 13 years old,
Did they bring a baggie home with your newborn hat and just left it in front of her?
So-
she got your scent, so she didn't bite you when you.
no, my sister actually loved me like a lot when I was a little kid. She was like awesome. She always took care of me, always watched out for me, so I didn't get in any trouble. And a lot of people don't know this. I was an extremely large baby. When I came out, they actually almost had to dislocate my right shoulder.
That's a
'cause
big
I
bitch.
Yeah, I couldn't fit. I was almost 11 pounds, and I was 22 and a half inches long.
Jesus Christ! If I bought her a roast that big,
Yeah.
cost me like $85, man.
And
Damn.
the worst part, I was early.
Ah, for fuck's
If I went
sake.
full term, they said I wouldn't have fit.
Fucking Paul Bunyan right there.
Yeah.
He's born.
Yep. So, yeah, I was born with the name Nathan Andrew Trainer.
Nathan Andrew. Now remember, what's your social?
Nothing.
All right,
And-
so you were born. Now that happens.
Yep.
And
French
now-
Canadian.
Oh, hey, oh.
I believe it's 100% because my mother's maiden name was Battier, and my grandmother, her mother's name was Nantes. So I believe it was all 100% French Canadian on both sides, mixed with some Native American, of course.
That tells me a lot, especially with all the weird asterisks and shit that you keep putting over your name.
Yes. And the accent aigu, and the accent grave, and the circumflex.
Just like Cote. Our last name is Cote.
Yeah.
Cote.
Yeah.
You can't.
Cote.
Yeah, no, not Cote. It's Cote. It's a coat.
And you know what's crazy is, let's see, I'm 31 now, right?
I hope so.
My grandmother still can't say my name.
Oh, I can't either.
She tries so hard, and she yelled at my mother so much about, "What, Linda? Why did you not make your son name have a good name?"
Oh, my mom thought it was funny to name me Patrick. We're fucking French Canadian,
Yeah.
for Christ's sakes.
And still to this day, my grandmother go, Nathan, come here. I got some fudge for you, Nathan. Come here. She's gonna, if she listens to this, oh man, she's gonna go, I hate Nathan. Nathan, why would you do this?
Wait a minute. So you're telling me that your grandmother packed you fudge?
Oh, you just have to take it there. We talked about fudge in a previous episode where she put somewhere around 18 pounds of sugar for one batch of fudge.
Oh, yeah. That stuff makes your eyes cross.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Anyway.
So yeah, growing
back
up,
back to the point.
I was a pretty dumb kid growing up.
Wow, that makes sense.
I was accident prone. I didn't learn how to tie my shoes until I was like 10.
Where now? I'm not trying to bust your balls, but were you like a slow starter kind of
No,
thing?
actually, I was ahead.
You were ahead.
Yeah, I was ahead. My
But you
sister.
couldn't figure out how to tie your own fucking shoes.
No, here's the thing. So my sister and me, we have different fathers.
Well, we were going to get to that point.
Okay, well,
we were going to get to that.
I'm going to
point.
say that the reason why I say that now is because my sister, my sister's father was a very, very intelligent man. So I've heard. I mean, he was making programs in the 80s for computers, which at that time were like not a thing.
Oh yeah.
And so he was a brilliant man, and my sister took that on.
Oh, so he's a programmer.
He was a programmer. He
Oh,
was
okay.
in the military. I know he was a submariner, I think is the term. He was on submarines. Great man.
He was a seaman.
Yes, he was a seaman. He was a great man. Unfortunately, was diagnosed with MS in his later years, and was terminal on MS before MS was really figured out and how to work with it, and was bedridden for the rest of his life. And
That's a terrible fucking thing right there.
yeah, and
No, you said brilliant man. I think that's the worst possible thing in the world. I mean, I know we're gonna we've had a conversation about this, and I know we will again. But I mean, the worst possible way to go out is just to be frozen in yourself. My own personal view is to be frozen in yourself and still be with it.
yeah, I mean, during that time period, you got to figure. My mom was 33 when she had me, and I think, and I'm going to ask the peanut gallery over the side, how many years was my father and mother together before they had me? 3 years?
83 they met.
So yeah, I was 4 years.
Second.
83 they met, and you were born in 87.
So about 4 years. So
Did that come through on that?
it did. It went
All right.
through. So for that being said, my mother would have been roughly 29, and the family, and this still to this day, I really have a lot of respect for my sister's father's side of the family, because they went and told my mother, "You're still too young of a woman. Go out, meet somebody, enjoy your life. You're too young." And I actually,
That's good people right there.
I actually ran into Rob
Oh, yeah.
Trainer yesterday
Rob, yep.
at the Stop and Shop, and I was talking to him about that, and I said, you know what, I have more respect for your family than anybody else, because for you to take that, and well, for your family to say that, that means the world. And then they had me, and then they
went, nah, fuck you, get the heck.
no, they always, during Christmas time and birthdays, they never forgot me. They always acted as I was one of their own. So I truly do mean when I say I respect them all for that.
Dude, that is awesome.
Yeah. And then I will tell you though, it was weird.
What do you mean?
So growing up, my mom and dad, up until my mom's my mom's passing in June, my mom and dad never lived in the same house. Maybe for like a month when I was young.
I remember at one point, and I'm obviously I'm older, so I do remember at one point they were living in a little deal together, a little apartment together, and
No,
no, my mom's emphatically shaking her head. No,
because before I was born, before my dad was in the picture, my mom had the house.
oh yeah, okay, yeah.
And so my dad, when I was born until about 5 or 6, and basically until I learned how to speak, my father lived there.
Wait, hold it. You started to speak around until you're 5 or 6?
Well, when I had opinions and stuff.
Oh.
And
okay.
when that happened, my dad left because I am my father's kid.
Oh yeah.
So if my father said, "Don't do this," you know me, I'd be tapping that button. Whatever button he told me not to touch, I touched it.
Well, that's a boy thing.
Yeah. So
My kids pull my fucking. Anyway, you know what? I'm not going into it.
So with that being said, I didn't experience that. I have, and I still tell people, how many years were they together? 35? 35 this October for them, right? So if my mom was still around, they would have been together, and I repeat this, together, dating, living in separate houses for 35 years.
And that's why they were insanely happy.
That's exactly right.
I've been with my wife. I'll get into my side of it, but I went there for a long time, and I would love to get my own apartment.
Yeah, it's, I said to my father, I said, "Dad, why do you do this?" And he goes, "What do you mean?" I said, "Why do you live in a separate house?" He's like, "It's very simple. I can go over, I can piss your mother off, and she can tell me to go home, and I can sleep in my own bed, and I get a couple free meals out of it when I come over."
There's something else to that, and I'm sure we'll get into it when your father comes on for
Yeah.
Father's Day. That's going to happen. Andy, that's going to happen.
So
It's also a different era, too. I mean, people back then, it was free love era and all that other stuff.
yeah.
So, it might be, our family. It's definitely a little different than most.
Well, it was tough because you got to understand both my parents were previously married.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and when they had me, my parents weren't married, so it's having a child out of wedlock. and that's just frowned upon amongst a lot of people.
Oh yeah,
but
still to this day, it's
still-
crazy.
But that doesn't change, and this I say this to anybody who has a child that was born out of wedlock. It doesn't change the amount of love that can be given to that child.
It just gives you 2 Christmases.
That's right. That's
Damn
actually
right.
that's
It's
right.
2 Christmases.
So I said to my father, I asked my father that question, going back to what I was saying, and he answered that way. So I asked my mother. I said, Mom, why do you guys live in separate houses? Wouldn't it be financially better? She goes, no, this way he comes over, he fixes all the shit that I need to fix, and then I can send him home. And it worked. That's the thing,
awesome.
people. Love, it comes in different shapes, different forms, and I can tell you right now, if my parents lived under the same roof,
Probably kill each other.
they
right?
would have killed each other.
Yeah. Well,
My
yeah,
father
that
was a
happens.
wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning kind of guy, and my mother was a go to bed at 2 o'clock kind of woman.
At least they would have seen each other.
They would have seen him passing. Yeah.
All right, so that's a really good background, quite frankly. All right, so growing up, you're in the same school system the entirety of your school career?
Yeah, I was in Dayton, Rehoboth. I was very blessed to not be, excuse me, to not be moved around, and it was a beautiful town. You know,
It is. It's very woodsy.
very woodsy. I mean, we don't have streetlights, we don't have sidewalks,
You can bury a body and you probably wouldn't find it the next day.
at least. And the only reason somebody would find it was because a cow would happen to walk by and eat it. And you know, I truly, and we're gonna get into more of my upbringing and what I've got from both of my parents. But overall, I was very, very blessed.
So now, you make it through middle school, make it to high school.
Yep.
Did you graduate high school?
No.
What grade did you end up retiring from high school?
I left high school as a super senior.
As a super senior. So that means that you went to senior 2 or 3 separate times.
So I went through freshman, sophomore, and junior, and then senior. And then I didn't have enough credits, so I had to go back for another year in senior year. And then I said, this is stupid. And
So
I left.
how many more credits did you need to graduate?
2.
And you, okay.
Yeah.
I'm not going to make a thing out of it.
No, you got to remember, just like yourself,
Yeah,
okay, and I know you're going to get into it, you were making pretty good money at 18 years old.
well, I had to, but
You
that's
had
a
to.
different story entirely.
But same thing for me. I was working at the jewelry store.
Oh, all right.
I
so
was working at
you
King
were
Jewelers.
starting your career. So
I was starting my career in sales, and I was very, very blessed. Remember, this is right before the crash.
Yes.
So people were spending stupid amounts of money on jewelry. They were buying $15,000, $20,000 in engagement rings. So as a commission-based job, I was making incredible money.
Well, it also comes down to you and I both come from a background of you very much have to make your money when you can make it, and then you get up and you go. I mean, I've been working since I was 10 years old, and that's not even including the paper route that I had prior to that.
Oh, yeah.
So, same thing with you, I'm gathering.
Oh, yeah. My father brought me up as I was 14 years old, and he said, guess what? It's time for you to get a job.
Yep, that's pretty much how that
And
went.
he brought me, I'll never forget it. I was at home, I was playing on the computer. He goes, get in the car. Got in the car, brought me to McDonald's, looked at the manager, said, this is my kid. This is the one I was talking to you about. Fill out an application. And I filled out an application, and I was hired.
Yeah, our family comes from a long line of you got to get up and do what you got to do to make it happen.
I swear, I've told this to everybody, that I feel that is the belief that was installed in them for any immigrants.
Oh,
Anybody who
yeah.
comes to this country, you come to this country because it's an honor to be in this country, and you work your ass off, and you make your money, and you don't just sit there and collect.
Oh, and I mean, it's just amazing how it just got translated to myself and my brother. And
Oh, yeah.
I haven't stopped. I mean, I've been on the grind forever. So
You and your brother, man, some of the hardest working people ever. I'm one of those. I try to just work as little as possible and make the most amount of money.
well, we were raised by a bunch of rednecks, so we have to get out there and chop that fucking tree. You cut that goddamn tree down, and that's all there is to it. But all right, so we're moving on. So yeah, come through high school.
Okay.
You're done. Senior year. See you later. Have a great day. Now you work in the jewelry industry.
Yep.
And where do we go from there?
Well, something happened. I don't remember. So during this time period, me and my sister stopped talking.
okay.
Now I'll get into a lot of stuff and be willing to talk about a lot of stuff, but that's one thing I'm not going to talk about.
No, hey, that's your
but
line.
either
that's your
way,
line.
for reasons, me and my sister did not talk for about 6 or 7 years, and I was 18. I got out of I quit high school. I was at my house, my mom's house, and my mom said something about, oh, you're going to have to pay a portion of rent because my dad installed that little word into her.
Oh, yeah.
And so I said, really? Because, this is the high school super senior
Oh,
dropout.
yeah.
He's thinking stupid.
You're playing with the swinging dick.
I go, really? I'll go out and get my own place. That was dumb.
Yes.
So I called up my buddy who at the time was making really good money as working at Stop and Shop as an overnight crew chief. So he was
Yep.
making good money. I go, hey, bro, I got an idea. Why don't we get a place? He's like, let's do that.
Yeah, man, let's get it done.
So we got a place living in Attleboro, and we lived off ramen noodles for a good 6 months because we were broke as shit.
Yeah, but you had your own place, though.
I did, but I would have had it so much easier if I just shut up and paid my mother a portion of the rent. But, me being a French Canadian,
Hey?
I'm stubborn as shit.
Oh, yeah.
So when I said, I'll go out and do it, I went out and did it. And I suffered, and I dealt with it because I was too proud to go back and say, all right, Mom, please.
All right, so now you're living on your own. You're at you said this is what, 18, right?
I was at 19 years old at this
19 years old at this point. So, all right, at what point do you crash and burn and move on to the next step?
So there was a couple times. I was with a girl. I lost my job. She was living with me.
This is why you're living at that same apartment?
Same apartment. My buddy
Okay.
moved out. My mom came, and I'll never forget this. She came and paid 3 months' rent for me. Nobody knows this. She came and paid 3 months' rent for me. She gave me $1,000 in Stop and Shop gift cards. She paid my electric for 3 months. She paid my insurance for 3 months, and she got me back on my feet.
Look at that, man. That's a good woman right there.
Yep. And then high school dropout screwed up again.
Well, hey, it has to happen, man. Ups and downs, baby.
And so I lost my license for 5 years.
Now, how did you lose your license?
I had 22 citations
For?
speeding.
Oh, hey. And let me ask you, how many, okay, you had 22 written citations.
Yep.
How many actual citations should you have had?
Over 35, 40.
Wow, those are some good cops right there.
Yeah. And most of them, it's because they would pull me over and they go, "What did do you know why I pulled you over?" I said, "No, I don't. It was speeding. Do you know what the speed limit is over here?" "No, actually, officer, I flew past that sign back there that told me." And they would laugh and they'd let me go. So
It is true. If you make a cop laugh, generally they let you go.
yeah.
No, I killed that dude. No, okay.
So she bailed me out, and then I lost my job again. At this point, I was in that mentality because you got to understand, folks. And I'll admit it, I was a spoiled brat growing up. My mom and dad. Well, my mom gave me everything. My dad was the realist, telling my mom not to, but my mom spoiled me. So at this point in my life, I screwed up again. My girlfriend of 3 years that I lived with left me, and I had nowhere to go.
Ah, that sucks.
And so my dad, the man who was the disciplinary
Yep.
growing up, that was his title, if you will, who never said I love you unless he would say I love you, and I put it this way, he said it so much that when he said it, I would go, "Mom, is he dying?"
Yeah.
Because he would never say it. But if you ask anybody, he was more proud of me than anything in this world. But
That's a man thing right there.
It was his. Well, I think it has a lot to do with the family upbringing.
Without a doubt.
Tough love was in fulfilled into that family.
You know, my mom used to whip me and go, "I love you. I love you."
So
No?
what happened was,
Wow, that's a sour-looking face right there.
my father, who, as I said, I didn't think loved me at this point, said, "Get your shit together. You're coming with me. You're moving with me."
Every child gets to that point, though. Seriously.
And what was crazy was my father taught me how to do a lot of shit that I didn't think I'd ever do.
Like what?
So I moved in with him. I didn't have a car. I didn't have a license. I had no money to my name. I was out of unemployment. He said, "You got to go get a job." I said, I don't know how. Like, I haven't, had to go out hunting. And he goes, "Well, let me show you how to take the bus." I'll never forget that. In the middle of Central Falls, mind you.
There's enough of them over there.
Yeah, but you know how it is. You've been over there. A white guy in Central Falls walking the street, you're either a cop or you're a target.
Either way, you're not getting picked on.
So I took the bus to Providence Place Mall, got myself a job, and got myself back on track
You progressively got yourself built back up again.
for a little while.
Hey, there's nothing wrong. Hey, man, you know, when you're down in the middle of nothing, I mean, you just got nothing left to your name.
Yeah.
You got to step on your own 2 feet sometimes. Just say, fuck it. You know what? I can't
Yep,
make it any
yep.
worse.
You'd
And-
think that, but then it does.
Well, no, but at the time, I'm talking the initial moment.
Mm-hmm.
Like you get that job and you're like, "Oh man, I finally did something for myself."
Yep.
It's a shitty job. It's probably not the best job in the
Wasn't.
world. And you know, but it is
But it was a job.
It
And
is
it
a
paid me
job.
money, and I could contribute.
Absolutely.
So, move about 2 years after that. At this point, I'm about 24, 25 years old.
All right.
I still don't have my car.
Still don't have well, I mean, at that point did you have your license or no?
No.
All right. Well,
So I was getting close, but I still didn't. I lost my job. My girlfriend at the time broke up with me.
man, you got to go gay cuz they don't leave.
And my mother's mother, my meme on that side, who I was very, very tight with,
Yep.
passed away.
Oh, I do remember that.
So-
I remember when she passed.
I broke. Mentally, I'm going to tell you right now, I was not okay. And I'm going to admit something that I never told anybody. I got put away. I got put
Really?
away for a week in Westwood State Institution.
Now, did you put yourself there or did somebody bring you?
So I went, matter of fact, I called my mom. I said, Mom, I'm not mentally okay. I'm not stable. She goes, go to the hospital, ask to talk to somebody. First time in my life, my mom gave me terrible advice because I went and talked to somebody and they
It's
said,
not terrible advice, Nate. It
I
really
went.
isn't.
I went to the hospital. They put a security guard at the door. I was not allowed to leave. They called an ambulance. I had to go to Westwood, where I had to be with people who were ODing, who actually were committing suicide actively. And I was there for a week. Now, let me tell you something. At this point in my life, I was smoking 2 packs a day.
Ugh,
you put me in a facility where I can't smoke for a week,
Yep.
eating shitty food, and I'm mentally unstable. You are going to make an insane person.
I mean, again, I'm gathering you just said you weren't in the right frame of mind, so
No, I wasn't.
You must have been presenting as like somebody who's going to off yourself or what, you know, maybe not that extreme. But
No, it was that extreme.
it was that. So, I mean, yeah, they did the right thing.
Yeah.
And ultimately, you know, they probably saved your life, even though you don't look at it from that
Yeah,
perspective.
I didn't realize until after. So I got out of there. Now, mind you, I don't have a job. Still don't have a car. You know my buddy Alex that I told you about?
Yeah, yep.
The guy who created the logo, Fat Guys Squared. One of the
Thank
most,
you.
Yeah, thank you. One of the most talented people I've ever met in my life.
Oh, I've met a couple of chicks that are really. Anyway,
This kid took his wife and flew up here. Now, let me tell you something about them. They're from Texas. They fucking hate Rhode Island. Absolutely despise it.
most people that live here hate Rhode Island.
Yeah. As a Rhode Island, they wicked hate it, okay? So
Wicked.
they came up here and they stayed here for 4 days. And we were at my mother's house and we were having dinner and we're sitting down and he looks at my mother and he goes, "Here you go." And my mother goes, "What's that?" He goes, "That's a ticket for your son. He's coming back with us."
Cool.
And I was like, what do you mean? I didn't know about this. And he goes, "Your kid's not okay." He's like, "I've known your kid since he was 16. He's not okay." Paid for me, took flight to Texas, living in Garland, Texas. I lived there for about 3 months. I didn't pay a bill. They gave me a car to use, even though I couldn't drive.
I was going to say, what
They-
you just sitting there and go, Whee!
No, I drove a little bit just to get cigarettes and
Oh,
stuff
I got you.
and to look for a job.
Yep.
And
What
just
the
to
hell
get,
do you do out there? I mean, seriously, for a job.
well, for me at the time, remember, I was a diamondologist and gemologist.
Oh,
So he got me a hookup with his own friends who in the jewelry industry that work in the same building as De Beers, the owners
wow.
of Diamond. So I was doing big things out there. I came down with a stomach issue. He was paying for my hospital visits. Truly, I am in debt to this kid till the day I die. He is the sweet. I'm gonna say it like this. He is the most caring asshole I've ever met in my life.
Hey, you know what, man? You need some of those people in your life.
Yeah, and after 3 months, I became very, very, very ill.
All right.
And I went from 315 pounds to about 225 pounds in 6 months. Didn't know what was going on. I said I wanted my mom. He flew me back. Came here, was going from
He even paid for your ticket back.
Yep.
Oh, son of a bitch. This
Yep.
guy's a goddamn saint.
He is. I came back. I got a job working back at the jewelry store.
All right.
But at the time, I was only able to work half a days because my stomach issue. I mean, this is going to sound stupid. You know the grilled chicken snack wraps from McDonald's?
Yeah, they were terrible.
Those are the only thing I could eat. Anything
Wow,
else,
that
I would
ma-
throw
that
up.
makes absolute sense.
So went to doctor, and I walked in. I said, "What do you think the problem is?" He goes, "Well, with your weight change and all that, it comes down to two things." I said, "What's that?" He goes, "It's either cancer or AIDS." I was like, "What?" That's the that.
Wow, that
so
guy gave you some great advice.
So I was like, "Seriously?" So
"Oh, you got two options. You can either die in 5 years or
feel like
maybe two."
So I go home, and a week later I get the call. He goes, "Good news, it's not cancer."
That's awesome.
I'm like, what about the other one, man?
Wait.
So I'm
Grant,
going-
I got great news for you, buddy. What? You don't have cancer. And just crickets. Just fucking crickets.
That's
The guy,
it.
wait, hold on, wait a minute. You told me I had two choices, and one's cancer, and one is AIDS. Now, help me out, man.
yeah. So I didn't have. Come to find out, I didn't have either. So
You sure?
and mind you,
It's
I
been
don't,
about 3 years,
I don't have health care.
Oh, good.
So I said, you know what? I got to find another doctor because this guy's obviously stupid. A customer of mine comes into the jewelry store in Warwick at the K Jewelers over there.
Yep.
His name is Teddy Palumbo.
Teddy
Jr.
Palumbo.
Teddy Palumbo Jr.
Sounds like a detective.
And he looked at me. He goes, "You don't look too good." I said, "No, I'm very sick. I have these stomach issues." He goes, "My father is also Teddy Palumbo Sr.
A detective.
He's a doctor for
Ah,
Rhode Island
close
gastroenterologist." I said, "Really?" He goes, "They're very caring, very religious people." He goes, "I'm going to give him a call." His father saw me pro bono.
No shit.
So went in there. He ran all the tests pro bono. Come back 4 days later. I'm working at the Emerald Square K Jewelers. He goes, "Nathan, we need you in immediately. Your gallbladder is rotted."
No kidding.
My body was going septic, and that's why I was sick.
Nobody thought to check any of this
No,
stuff?
because they never thought of doing an ultrasound.
But wouldn't your blood count be high in the whole nine?
So at this time, my liver level, they thought I was an alcoholic because my liver enzymes were at like an 80, 90, which is an alcoholic.
Wow.
And I don't drink. You know that. I don't
No,
drink.
he huffs.
So I went in there immediately the next day for surgery, had the gallbladder removed, and I was fine. That was it.
Oh, that's awesome.
Unfortunately, now I could go back to enjoying my mother's cooking, and I gained almost all the way back, plus some.
All right, so what age is this at?
This is about, I'm 31, so 26.
26. So from 26, we'll move along, and are you still living with your father?
Yep.
All
Still
right.
to this day, I'm living
Still
with
to
my
this
father.
day with your old man.
Yep.
Now, obviously, this recent events, your mom passed, and
The hardest thing.
I don't doubt it, man. You lost a best friend, pretty much.
Yeah, because growing up, she was the only one that understood me. Because my sister is, you got to understand, she's, an opera singer, valedictorian, sings in 7 languages. She gets up and pretty much pisses excellence every day.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's what, she's amazing.
I thought you were talking about that speech impediment you had to you about 26.
No, my
and
sister.
that's the only reason why your mom could understand you, because she's the only one who took the time.
No,
No?
my sister, at this point, granted, in my life, me and my sister are very, very close. But we just don't connect on that level because she is a different type of person than me.
Oh,
and
no doubt.
And she's, as I said, the most talented person I've ever met in my entire life.
Yeah, talent is great, but I mean, if you can connect on a different level altogether, that's really the only point that you need. I don't care if she's a right-wing conservative that likes to go hunting every Thursday because Wednesdays are, Jesus' day.
Yeah.
If her and you get along and you guys can connect on,
Now we can.
well, of course you're
Because-
older. You're
well,
older
no,
now.
it's because of my mom's passing.
No, it's
So
not
we-
because of that. It's not because of that at all. It's because you're both older and you both realize that your mom's no longer here, and you got to make a conscious effort to be in that person's life.
Sure. And I mean, you got to remember at this point, me and my father still like fire and water.
Oh, well,
You
it's
know?
going to happen forever because that's
So-
your father, and that's,
Yeah. So my mother, the way my mother was with me, I didn't have with either of them. So when I lost my mother, I lost my best friend.
Yep.
I lost my nurturer, if you will,
Oh,
the
yeah.
one who took care of me. So I will tell you though that there was, if I can't believe I'm even going to say these words, but there was one good thing that came out of my mother's passing.
And that is?
My father every day tells me he loves me.
That is a good thing.
Every single day.
You know what, man? And I'm going to tell you from a father's perspective, whether you want to hear it or not, I'm going to say it because that's who I am.
Sure.
I've had a lot of health issues in my life, and I to this day will tell my kids I love them, and I'm openly, I don't know the word. I'm openly loving, towards my children.
Mhm.
My children are my life.
Sure.
But they are my children, and I'm not aggressive, but I'm very much a headstrong person.
You're very stern.
Thank you. That's the word I'm looking for. But just like your dad, and I know we both come from the same kind of background in that aspect.
Yeah.
I want my kids to succeed, but I want them to succeed with them doing it themselves.
Sure.
I don't want to be the person to tell my kid to go get a job. I did that. I've done it in my life. I probably still do it until I die. But I want my kids to think for themselves. I want my kids to get up in the morning and go do their own thing.
Have their own drive.
Exactly.
Okay.
I have a drive from very young age that it's just you got to get up and move. You got to do what you got to do, and it's not something that it's instilled, obviously, but it's also something that I needed to do for myself.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I learned a lot about my father through this.
dude, that's the best thing in the world.
So, I mean, for instance, everybody out there knew that my father was a hard ass.
Oh,
Okay?
yeah.
My father is a hard ass with the dumbest, shittiest jokes you have ever heard of in your entire life.
But I
that even the dogs look at him like, dude, really? You said that? But
I guarantee you'll be repeating them when he's not here anymore.
I will. I will. Absolutely. And I will tell you right now, even through the shitty relationship I had with my father growing up, which was, I don't want to say abusive, but we'll just use the word incredibly stern, like we were saying. But I will say that I would not change my relationship with my father.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's awesome. Hey, I tell you what, why don't we stay on you for the rest of this time, and then we'll do another one for me next time.
Fine.
Next Wednesday, we'll do me.
Fine.
We can do me next week.
I can't wait to do you.
Oh, that's so good. Hey, Willie the Water Boy's down here. What's going on, Willie?
And I'm going to say this right now because otherwise I'm going to forget, and I'm going to be a little sappy for a moment. I'm trying to think of the right words. Bear with me.
Are we talking about Willie?
We're not talking about Willie. Your mother.
Yeah, your mother.
Your mother,
Your mother, that
who
son of a...
is my aunt.
I don't know
who
if that's
is-
true.
Is happy birthday today.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. You know what? I completely forgot to say. You know what, Nate? Let's do a little ditty. Little ditty. You ready?
Okay.
Count of three. 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you.
Boo, 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 boo.
Happy birthday, Mr. President.
You jerk off, man. No, I will say the passing of my mother has been the hardest thing in my life, and your mother has been a saint to me in the process.
Can I endeavor to say there has been another good thing that's happened from your mom passing, whether you view it that way or not. And I know it's selfish, but it's we are able to do this now.
Oh yeah.
We never thought of doing this until we got together, and you were definitely in a down place, and it's like, dude, let's make a podcast, and
And this is therapy, man. This is
without
so
a doubt.
therapeutic.
This is I know we've said it before, we'll say it again.
Yeah.
This is one of the most therapeutic fucking things I've ever done.
Yeah, and it's not, people think, oh, well, it's therapeutic for you because you lost your mother. No, I can tell you right now firsthand, watching my cousin, this is very therapeutic for him. He looks forward to this throughout the week.
Oh, I do. I literally have a red notebook because I like the color red. And I put through the week, I'll just put some stupid fucking things that I think of, and hey, this is what we're going to talk about, let's hope, and that kind of thing. And I like to hear what Nate has done through the week, and I like to see where he's been and how he's been moving along. And and I was on the fence about doing these kinds of podcasts because it's not what people want to hear. A lot of times it's not what people want to hear, but I think if we give our histories the people who actively want to be a part of this podcast will know where we're coming from. Nate comes from a background, a loving family. It was a different type of family, but it's
Yeah.
still a loving family.
Very unorthodox.
Oh, without a doubt, you
Yeah.
know, and I mean, people nowadays that come from that background, you're gonna have, that's not your dad, that's your dad. Well, yeah, I don't give a shit as long as he's my dad. I don't.
I mean, if I can say anything out to the people is that, yeah, everyone has a different upbringing. Everybody might not have a mom, might not have a dad, might not have a sister, might not be in a rich area or a poor area. Black, white, doesn't make a difference. You can just make, and I can say this looking at my cousin when I say this, firsthand, you can make the best of a shitty situation.
Oh hell, I make shit sandwiches every day, except they put a little paprika on that bitch, some salt, maybe some salsa.
So when people sit there and they go, my life sucks, does it though?
Yeah, you know what?
You woke up.
You can't judge people by, I've said this before. I'm changing my train of thought. Everything that's happened in your life, I don't give a shit what it is. You were shot. You were, as much as I don't want you to be, but raped or whatever the case is. All of those things, the good, the bad, and even worse. Obviously, I don't want anybody raped, but the point I'm trying to make is that who you are as a person today directly reflects where you came from.
Oh, yeah.
Everything in your life. I don't give a
Absolutely.
shit if you were, a ping pong champion of '86 and your best friend Bubba got shot. You get off your ass and you go to whether you go to work or whether you go gaming, whatever the fuck the case is, you make your life happen.
Oh, my ex-girlfriends, because I'm still friends with a lot of my exes, and I'm going to tell you, that girl that I lived with,
Yep.
she is really tight with me, and she's been there for me as rock during the whole passing, and she has told me time and time again, and all of my other closest friends, the man you've become now is a complete 180 of the man I was 10 years ago.
That's all because of me, though. See,
Hear
I'm
those crickets, people? Hear those crickets.
Hey, I'm glad you add she is tight now with me because this would have became a completely different conversation.
But it's true. Like living in the situation I have, I kind of want when I'm maybe when I am with somebody, maybe we live in separate houses. I grew up in a family that didn't have any kids. My sister didn't have kids. I didn't get to see your side of the family for a good 18, 19 years of my life.
I didn't miss much.
So for that reason, I didn't get to be around nephews and cousins and all that. So I didn't have kids around me. So my desire to have kids isn't really there.
Oh, I didn't want to have kids either, but my wife was wearing that little thingy that I like, and she's like, "Come here, baby," and I'm like, "Okay,
Yeah.
that's what
Oh
made it
yeah,
happen."
you said this before. You were sleeping, and she woke you up, and she said, "Let's have a kid," and you were like, "Sure, whatever you say, that's fine. I don't care."
No,
And-
no, I said it was post-coitus.
Yes.
Because any man will get talked into doing anything after you have sex.
Yeah.
I don't care who you are. I don't care who you are. It is the kryptonite of every man.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's boobs.
Yeah, okay, well, you're gonna let a woman talk into having a kid if you look at boobs?
I mean, how nice are these boobs?
I don't know.
I mean, if they are grade A filet mignon,
I'm looking
then
at a
maybe.
screen full of two boobs right now, and I don't.
Hey, speaking of which, I did have to change my white shirt today. I was wearing it because I was showing two boobs.
You see that though? See, you learned,
I learned.
and you're a better person for it now.
Yeah. And as a bigger guy, dark is my favorite color.
Like I said, you got to walk down the street. You bring yourself a goddamn snack.
So what else do you want to know about this crazy, weird up? By the way, as I said, me and my sister are good now. And I'm very proud of her because actually, I think I told you yesterday, we're doing the signing for the closing on my mom's house. We're selling my mother's house.
Yep.
On the 22nd. My sister isn't going to be able to be there
Oh no!
because
Oh, she's in a. Yeah, that's right.
she got called in from the opera company in Detroit. The person for the lead over there got sick, and they said, "We need you."
Yeah, she's what, Mona or something like that. What
What type?
Yeah, what
an
type?
al-
What type?
she's,
She's a moaner. Come on, man. What are you doing?
She's a soprano.
No. The show she's in. Was the person she's playing is Mona?
I don't know. It's Barbara of Seville.
Barbara of Seville.
Barbara. I'm sorry. I completely wrong with the name.
I mean, she just
Barbara
got
of Seville.
She's going there for 3 weeks. They're taking care of her. She's got an opera in Boston. She's got an opera. She found out right after my mother's passing. She's got an opera this coming June or July in New York.
I mean, it's a huge thing for a person that's. I mean, let's face it. The field that your sister's in is incredibly hard to really get into to begin with.
It is. And not only just like so people think, oh, it's singing. Yep, it's in
it's not
7
just
languages.
singing.
So
Yeah.
my sister, what she does is when she finds out what opera she's in, she takes all of the words that she has to sing, and she translates them to English. So she knows the emotion that she's supposed to portray during that said scene, and then she has to learn how to say it in that language.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Okay.
Uno, dos, que. Okay.
Okay.
No. No agua.
No. What?
No. What? I have no.
God, you are such a gringo.
So, all right, we're going to end this about 10 minutes early today. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the show. If you want to reach us at a place, I have it open. I just got to open it on my fucking laptop.
Oh, jeez. Here we go.
Oh, I'm an
again.
asshole. You know what? Shut up.
Just saying.
I'm going to do this right now.
I don't think you were hugged
Oh,
enough as a child.
I really wasn't. My mom was mean, but we'll find out next week.
Oh. Oh. That is mean.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is Fat Guy Squared. As you know, if you want to listen to us on podbeam.com, just go to Fat Guy Squared at podbeam.com. As far as podcasts go, Google Podcast in the, what is that, Windows side?
No, Android.
Android side, I apologize. On iTunes, you just type in Fat Guy Squared in the podcast icon. Do me a favor, though, if you go there, give us 5 stars and, tell us that we're the best of the best of the best because
Well, we are.
we are, We are 4 different people because we're that large.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. And if you want to send us anything or you want to just tell us that we are the greatest of all time or, just pick on Nate. Don't pick on me. I'm very, very shallow.
What the hell?
Just always Nate. Always, not me. You go to fatguysquared@gmail.com. I'm going to change this up just a little bit. I'm going to give my mic to my mother and let her do the closing. Oh, yeah, she's looking at me with these giant eyes. So, Ma, what you're going to say is, hey, thank you for having me. This is Fat Guy Squared. Bye. That's all you got to say. Okay? Okay? So you're going to take
be
the
interesting.
mic, and then, okay, we're going to bring it to her.
Thank
You got
you.
to speak into the mic.
Thank you for having me. This is
Fat Guy Squared.
Fat Guy Squared
Signing off.
signing off.
Take
Have
care,
a great
folks.
Day.
Bye, y'all.